2025 FireKeepers Casino 400 from Michigan delivered a fantastic race. Just a lot of battling back and forth. There was strategy involved. There were, uh, different comers and goers up front. This is a race that had just about everything. Some big passes being made. I mean, we saw some huge runs where guys were able to take it three wide and complete passes. Really about as exciting of a race as we've seen this year. And that was reflected in the fans. I think a lot of fans were talking about how good this race was, how these cars really delivered on this 2 mile circuit, and how much fans wished we still had a Auto Club, the track previously on the circuit that was closest to Michigan. But nevertheless, Michigan, fantastic race. Let's dive into what happened, starting with stage one. Chase Briscoe on the pole for the third straight week, and for the third straight week wasn't able to stay out front. uh, you know, William Byron's able to get by Chase Briscoe pretty quick. One of the big stories in stage one was Tyler Reddick making his way from the very back of the field up through the pack, kind of showcasing some of that passing that we maybe don't see everywhere on the NASCAR circuit. But Michigan, with how wide these corners are and how many different grooves there are, was able to make passes, get by multiple cars coming all the way from the back up into the teens. Just a really fun stage one. William Byron led for most of it, but it was Chris Buescher who got by William Byron late in the stage to get a stage win here at Michigan. Obviously, Buescher has had success at Michigan in the past, and not really a surprise to see him running well at this track. But maybe a surprise to some. Personally, I think he was one that a lot of people had their eye on, given his past success here and the fact that Ford, as a manufacturer, has been so dominant here in the past. But yeah, Buescher wins stage one. Then we move on to stage two, where things kind of got a little bit hectic. You already saw some of that strategy come into play on pit road here, with some guys waiting for gas to make sure that they were completely full. Other guys, left a little bit earlier, didn't maybe get the car all the way full of fuel, and that shook up the running order quite a bit. Ryan Blaney ends up out front, and he would lead the field to green in stage two. Blaney didn't keep the lead for long, though. It was Chase Elliott who got up there and was able to take the lead from the 12 car. But we had our first caution for incident of the day. John Hunter Nemechek, coming off of turn two, gets into the wall, just kind of loses it on his own, and starts to spin. And Noah Gragson, trying to avoid the spinning 42 car, goes for a little bit of a spin of his own. As we say in NASCAR, cautions breed more cautions. And on the ensuing restart, we get a little bit of time, but didn't take long for another accident to occur. This time it was a massive, massive hit for Alex Bowman, who got kind of collected in an incident not of his own making. Cole Custer kind of pushing down the bottom, gets into Austin Cindric. That gets him a little bit squirrely. He slides up into Bowman, and that contact with Bowman sends Alex head on into the wall. Just an extremely hard hit for the 48 car. Bowman would say in the post-race interview that that's probably about as hard of a hit as he's taken in his career. The race was red flagged to check the wall, the integrity of the safer barrier, and make sure that we were good to go back racing. But man, just a crazy incident. Really glad to see Alex Bowman walk away from his car under his own power. Anytime you see a hit like that, you kind of just hold your breath. So really glad that Bowman was able to walk away and able to talk to the media afterwards. Again, we get another caution for incident in stage two after the cars get rolling again. John Hunter Nemechek for his second hit of the day, and this time it was a little more damaging. Gets into the wall with the rear of the car, really ended any chance he had at a good run. And then once we get back going, William Byron gets back out front. That 24 car was one of the best cars in the field all day. Just another really strong run for that 24 team, where it looked like they had the speed to win, and things didn't shake out their way in the end. We'll get to that, though. Ryan Blaney, who led for a little bit in stage two, ends up wrecking. These cars were on edge all day. This was something where I think the track changed quite a bit, and the guys were getting loose into the turns and loose out of the turns, loose around other cars. Just grip was something that was really hard to come by. And you know, you never want to see incidents on track, but it's great to see these drivers have to really push themselves to make moves and live on the edge with these cars. And I think some of the incidents that we saw in this race were a symptom of a good racetrack, right? Like it's a tough place to drive with some of the ways the runs were generated. You had guys just like getting huge runs behind groups of cars. If guys were side by side and passes weren't able to be completed, a third car coming from behind is able to use that momentum off the corner, generate a massive run, and could often complete some three wide passes going into the turns, which was really fun to see these massive runs with the cars. Aero blocking still came into play for sure, but I think the risk of running side by side opened up a lot of different things throughout this race, and was part of what made it so exciting. But William Byron does go on to win stage 2. Just again, another great run for that 24 team. And then in stage 3, we go green for a while, and then it's Todd Gilliland who loses a left rear tire. This was something that we saw a little bit in practice, but managed to avoid during the race. It kind of reared its head here with the car of Gilliland getting a hard hit into the wall, losing a tire. The last caution for incident of the day, and this is where things got interesting in a different way. This set up some fuel strategy play. Guys were trying to push it to the end, yet other guys come back on pit road to try to top off with fuel and know for sure that they could make it to the end. But the differing strategies led to some great racing, and it was Carson Hocevar who gained the lead early after that restart, and the 77 car looked fast once again. Carson Hocevar really kind of showing his talent, and we've talked about some of the incidents, some of the controversy that has resulted from Hocevar on track, but I think this was a case again where the talent, the speed that he has out there is undeniable. Just a great run for the 77 car. Obviously, that fuel strategy was coming into play. So you had Hocevar up at the front. You had Byron. You had Kyle Larson. And then you also had Ty Gibbs, who has struggled a lot this year, running up near the front at the end of this race, all trying to save fuel. And then you had Denny Hamlin, who, if you're listening to the radio, the team radio, you heard his crew come over the radio and tell him that they thought that he was good to the finish. And that was the difference in this race. Denny Hamlin was able to push towards the end, and he starts coming up through. He was a little bit deeper, about 5th or 6th, and he's able to kind of work his way up to that front group. Unfortunately for Carson Hocevar, while he's leading this race, he has a flat tire, able to keep it off the wall, keep from spinning, so he stayed green, but just heartbreak for that 77 team, who has been competitive at multiple races this year. Obviously finishes 2nd last week at Nashville, had a good car at Charlotte before the engine lets go. Just another tough scenario for this 77 team, and for a driver who really feels like he's knocking on the door of getting that first NASCAR Cup Series win. But Denny Hamlin continues to chase the guys that are out front at this stage. William Byron is leading, and Byron has to save a little more fuel than Hamlin does. The 2014 believes they're short. You have to wonder if, Hocevar had been able to stay out front, if Byron's not able to kind of ride behind that 77, save a little bit more gas. But once you get to the lead, you don't have that car in front of you to break up the air a little bit, help you save gas a little bit more in the draft. And Denny Hamlin gets by William Byron late in this race. William Byron, as we're getting to the end, also runs out of fuel. Chris Buescher, who got kind of mired back in the pack, was working his way up as well. Seemed like he had some good fuel mileage. But ultimately, it's Denny Hamlin who gets the win at Michigan. Taunts the crowd with a little Ohio State OH there in Michigan. You got to love somebody who's willing to play the heel in this sport. I think that those kind of characters are what NASCAR needs at times. But really great win for this 11 team. Obviously, the fuel mileage, the ability to pass, the huge runs being generated, all of that played such a great role into what made this a fantastic race. And, this is reflected again with the fans, a lot of positive reactions online after the race. We always talk about the Jeff Gluck, was it a good race poll? This one was up in the 90% Like it was a fantastic race for NASCAR fans, and it's been a good stretch of races with Charlotte, Nashville, and now Michigan all delivering some good action. But now we head south of the border. We're going to Mexico City. The first time I believe that the NASCAR Cup Series will have been there. Obviously, the Xfinity Series has raced there in the past. Really excited to see what happens with these cars at Mexico City. Excited to see just a new track on the circuit. Obviously, a road course. Going to be a fun change of pace. The weather could be something to keep an eye on, but we'll dive into all of that a little bit later. As always, stay locked into Apollo NASCAR for your NASCAR coverage from the Bayou City, and we'll catch you next time.